right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you very much. I am Frozen Webcam 24. There we go. Joined alongside one Mr. B Major as we continue our Elite Division playoff playoff coverage here as we continue to see the outcomes of these series so far. Of course, it is quarterfinals week, all leading towards the finals, of course, for our winter season, March 4th and March 5th. This is, of course, upcoming now, our final quarterfinal matchup that has to start off. It is the battle of the 4 seed in Färjestad taking on the 5th seed in IQUE, and in an all green matchup as well. Very, very festive. It's a shame we weren't closer to St. Patrick's Day for this particular matchup, but very much looking forward to this one as well, because as we get a look at the latest playoff bracket here that we have, as boy, my webcam just doesn't want to cooperate right now, but it's perfectly fine. As we get a look at this, 2-0 series leads across the board, right? And a 1-0, a 1 seed against an 8 seed having a 2-0 lead, that's not surprising. 7-2, pretty surprising. Then Frölunda, as you just saw, took a 2-0 lead over Havu. This is the one series where I just don't know what to make of it, and I have no idea what to expect here.
Yeah, and I think that what makes this series so interesting is obviously for our first series of the day, we have El Clasico. Now we kind of get the battle of the underdogs. You mentioned it earlier, Tugi, but both of these teams were projected to miss the playoffs. Färjestad projected to finish 9th. IQUE projected to finish 10th. And remember, IQUE made the playoffs last season as the 8th seed, made it by 1 point, and took Philadelphia, now for Frölunda, who were the 1 seed, to 6 games. So both of these teams, a lot that they felt like they had to prove, and they were looking to really make a statement. They've done that this season, and now how fitting they match up against one another here in round 1, the quarterfinals, as the 4 and 5 seed. Doesn't get much better than that.
So again, a look at the results there, the latest results, of course, that we've had from the matchups that have already been completed here. And again, interesting results that we've seen out of the series so far. Every single game, with the exception of the former, being decided, or the latter, I should say, being decided by 1 goal. But of course, as we know, that 3-1 Frölunda win did end on an empty net goal from Eki. So essentially, we've had 1-goal games across the board, 3 overtimes out of the 6 games as well.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of what you would pretty much expect for the most part. Maybe not to this extent, but there are a lot of close games in the ECL Elite Division once you get in the playoffs, because all of these teams now, they are the top teams in Europe playing against one another. So it's not shocking to see them be competitive. And even you see teams like HRES, the defending champion, the #1 seed, being tested by Goons, the 8 seed, who really, man oh man, wouldn't that be a statement series win if they were able to somehow come back and pull that upset. They had to win in overtime in both of those games, and obviously Granda's the 7 seed being up on Sawo 2-0. So you're just kind of showing how deep the ECL Elite is. A team can come in and win on any given night against anyone, and that's what makes a lot of these series so interesting, especially when you see the 4 and 5 teams match up, what we're about to hear in just a few minutes.
Again, normally Tuesdays are Pro Division coverage days, but with it being the opening round of the Elite Division, the Elite take center stage. But again, the Pro Division bracket right now, as it stands, not fully updated. Of course, one of those things where it's an ongoing situation, and there we go. We do have it fully updated now, as far as I am aware. But again, the 2 #1 seeds, technically, yep, now the 2nd seed in this, but both of our top seeds, they're trailing 2-0, and of course the Hervlev Eagles and Arctic have a 1-1 split going on right now. So we will continue to follow along with the Pro Division as well. Again, sportsgamer.gg for full coverage as that situation continues to develop as well. And again, will be semifinals and finals time before you know it. But with that, let's focus again on our main topic of discussion. That, of course, being Färjestad and IQUE starting off their series. As we get a look at the stats, and, you know, needless to say, for IQUE, the defense really standing out. But Färjestad with that advantage in goals in the regular season.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the big thing to watch out for. Kind of a strength against a strength. Great offense, a great against great defense. Excuse me, got kind of tongue-tied here. You get that sometimes when you get these matchups like this, but I think that's the thing to kind of look out for. Färjestad being so good at being able to put the puck in the net. They've done it all season. They've been one of the better teams at having that ability to score goals and score them at will, in the top 5 in goals for and goals per game, while for IQUE, third in goals against and goals against per game in the league. So you're kind of seeing a strength against a strength here match itself up one-on-one. So who's going to be able to continue to do that against a team that is just as good as them on that opposite side?
With that, let's get you a look at the lineups for the matchup here tonight. For IQUE, it is Niepi, the captain, alongside Ikavalko and Jurgeli. Nico and Pottsberg on defense. Teme between the pipes for Färjestad. Afe, Captain Mullen and Fopa Toflin. Sebi Larson alongside Mr. Nipsely. McSavid between the pipes as well, this time out for Färjestad, and very intrigued to see how that goaltending matchup looks. But we will start off with our center comparison, as we always do. Ikavalko alongside Mullen, and again, not what I would have expected heading into this season, as Mullen, a very, very respectable point total, but you look at Ikavalko and the addition that he has been. This is his first elite season, his first full elite season since ECL 9. It's been a couple of years since we have seen him. Basically, his last season was Sin and I's first here. So it's been a little bit since we've seen him, but he is in as fine a form as ever.
Yeah, and you can tell that in the goal total that he has. He is at that top 10 mark. He has 24 goals. That is good for 10th on the nose, and he has 46 points as well. It might be his first season in the league in a hot minute, but man, oh man, it looks like he never left. He's been one of those top goal scorers, and he's going to be a guy that might match up well with the goal scorer on the other end for Färjestad in Afe, and we'll talk about him in just a little bit, but Ivalko, gonna have to watch out for him. Would not be surprised if we call his name a few times here this season. He's been a big reason that IQUE has had some of the success that they've had.
The winger battle again for IQUE, Captain Niepi alongside Jurgeli for Färjestad. The ever dangerous Afe alongside Fopa Toflin. Imagine what stands out for you here with these four.
Well, I think for Färjestad, it's got to be Afe. He might even be a little bit under what some expected him to have in terms of that goal tally. He's one of the most prolific scorers in the ECL League division, has 29 goals, and more times than not, you look at that and say, that's a really good season, about a goal per game pace, but Afe, this is a guy that's scored even higher than that, has pushed that 40-goal marker in some of his past seasons, and 29 goals, maybe even a little lower for him. He's the guy that I think really can step up in the playoffs here for Färjestad. We know how good he is when he is on his game, and then you look at the other side for IQUE, pretty even on those goal numbers for the two wingers in Niepi and Jurgeli. Both of them really at that kind of mid-teens mark, and the assists more or less for Niepi, the leading assist man for this IQUE team. Usually you see that for the center. This time it's kind of reversed. The winger is the one with more assists, and the center the one with more goals. So kind of just a difference in play styles, I guess you could say, in the way that that trio plays at the forward group for IQUE. But you're going to see that make a difference here, especially against a really sound defense in Färjestad.
The defensive comparison is next. Again, Nico and Pottsberg for IQUE. Sebi Larson and Mr. Nipsely on defense for Färjestad. And again, here's where we see a lot of the changes, of course, that Färjestad went underway. You referenced it earlier in the broadcast to, a new combination on defense, but it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind, that's a big reason that Färjestad was projected to finish pretty low in the standings. They were projected to finish 9th, like we said, projected to miss the playoffs. And it's one thing to lose a defensive pairing. Well, it's another to lose Lemonins, who won Defenseman of the Year in ECL 12, as well as Transfer of the Year, and his partner in Fury. And those two were really one of the top defensive pairings in ECL. So people kind of questioned, how would this team look without them? How would they be able to replace them on the back end? Well, they've answered those questions with Sebi Larson and Mr. Nipsely, who came in from a rather odd situation coming in the season. The disbanding of Salwo, the original Salwo Esports, coming in right before the season started, even said on social media that this wasn't necessarily his best season in terms of his play, but considering how all things went, he felt rather good about how things were looking and how things could go into the playoffs. So Färjestad looking to make a point. The defense has been of the front of that for them. Now they're going to show up and do it on the big stage here in the playoffs.
The goaltending matchup is our final head-to-head here. Again, for IQUE, it is Teme taking on McSavid. And what a season this has been for Teme. I don't know how many people would have tipped him to have better numbers than what we've seen from McSavid so far this season, who has been consistently one of the better goaltenders that we have had in the Elite Division.
Yeah, and Teme putting up stats that are out there with the elite goalies like Kape, like Hansulino, and like FaZe, and McSavid as well. And so much so that, like you said, Tugi, a little higher in McSavid in terms of save percentage and a better goals against average as well. But the number that really stands out to me, 7 shutouts in his 30 games played. So he's getting a shutout about every 3 to 4 games that he is playing. And he has been a stone wall back there in net for IQUE. And there's a big reason that they have made it so far this season and have done so well. They won 8 more games this season than they did in ECL 12. A big improvement. And Teme really wanted the fronts for that. So expect him to have a lot to say, and for his name to be called a lot for a few big saves here in this matchup and in this series.
So with that, everybody, we are just about ready to go. As you can see, the teams matched up, the game just about ready to begin. Again, the first 2 games of this series will be covered in this broadcast as the battle of 4 versus 5, Färjestad against IQUE. Very intrigued to see how this one will go, as again, you get one more look at what the teams are playing for. But again, we have seen a 2-0 series lead in the other 3 matchups so far. Will that keep up? That is the question as we see how this one plays out. Again, very excited. Game 1 is here, and we will see just how this plays out here and now. Again, ECL Elite Division action brought to you by our friends at Wilhelm, Kovalon Lockertzy, and ST Hockey. And this series is underway. It is Färjestad in the home green, IQUE in the road whites. And let's see how this series begins. The playoffs have been anything but predictable so far, and that theme will likely continue in this matchup. And here's IQUE early on. That shot paddled away by McSavid. Trouble for Sebi Larson behind the back of the goal. Gets a little bit of help. This one goes all the way around. Here is the pass now over to Afe. Svopatoflin that was with him. A little bit of trouble there. Ikavalko able to take that one away. And again now Niepi. Somehow able to time that at the line despite Jurgeli stepping up. Good bit of contact there to take the puck away. Mullen sends it around, but out of range. It is IQUE right back in on the attack after that turnover. One-timer, big stop by McSavid. Back across and a shot blocked by the traffic in front. And again, we see a matchup. Turnovers in your own zone and failure to clear the puck out of the zone can lead to big, big trouble and high danger scoring chances. But now here's Svopatoflin for FBK. Holds it down low in the corner and hands it right to Ikavalko after the pressure. Hotsburg for Niepi. Great job by Mullen on the back pressure to take that one away. Svopatoflin again nowhere to go. So far IQUE controlling the run of play. Errant pass nearly into a high danger area, of course. Nobody there to pick that one up, but it is FBK now back in control and get things going. It's been a slow start for them. Finally, they gain the zone. Let's see what they can do with it. It's Mullen back to Mr. Nipsley at the point, and again, Mullen tried to go down low. Well read by Nico. Strong start to the first half of the opening frame here. Pottsburg around the back, gets it back. One-timer blocked again by the traffic in front. May have gotten the goal. Regardless, not the outcome they wanted. Here's off a burst of speed, but he runs into Nico. What a defensive performance to kick things off. A little bit of trouble here for Pottsburg. Has to take his time. Nico again circling back as well. You can tell IQUE were trying to be rather tactical and precise with these outlet passes. That shot stopped by McSavid. Loose puck still hanging around, and finally he'll reach out to cover it.
Yeah, and our first stoppage of the game, it ticks off about 12 and a half minutes here of the first period, and pretty back and forth for the most part. McSavid having to come up big on a few saves, and IQUE looking pretty strong so far, being, I guess you could say, the aggressors to start out here in this period. We'll see if Färjestad can kind of establish that zone and get something going for themselves.
Potoflin drops back from Mullen. FBK timing it well, but again, Niepi there to take it away. Very strong defensive start for IQUE. Here's Niepi, draws the trip, pass in front, broken up. But IQUE will have the first power play of this series.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Färjestad, interestingly enough, they played 2 games against IQUE. Obviously, each team playing twice, 1-1 against each other in the regular season. Färjestad took a lot of penalties. They took 7 in total. 6 of them were tripping penalties. So that's going to be something to watch out for Färjestad. Can they stay out of the box, and can IQUE take advantage when they're not able to?
And we'll see what happens. IQUE, a struggling power play, whereas Färjestad had a very strong penalty kill, so you never know what will happen here on this attempt. Playoffs, all those numbers are out the window, but here's Jürgeli now around the back of the net. Recovered by Niepi, dishes it right back to him, passed in front, wide to Ikavalko on the doorstep, broken up and cleared all the way down by Malin. So over halfway through this power play for IQUE. Nico, that pass off the mark. Good news for FBK. Their opposition struggling to gain the line. Sent down low into the corner. Chased down Jürgeli. Now Niepi battling for it. Even Nico getting involved in the play. Circles back. We are back to 5-on-5. Nico in the corner. Round the back, Niepi to the forehand. Ikavalko tried the short side. McSavid said no. Again now Niepi just being hounded off of the puck, but they maintain possession. Ikavalko to the point, save. McSavid again off of that secondary opportunity. He's had to be strong to start this game. So far, so good.
Yeah, IQUE putting a lot of pressure on Färjestad to start out, and McSavid all over it so far here in this first period. We know he's one of the better goalies in ECL for a reason, especially that elite division, showing why here in this first.
Pass in front, another big stop by McSavid. Here's Niepi trying to feed it in front. Toflin there to take it away. Very strong start for IQUE. Again, both of these teams very, very motivated heading into this. We said it, of course, in the pregame. Neither in that preseason captain's poll projected to make the playoffs. They both do, again, as the 4th and 5th seed, respectively. And very well determined to make it to round 2 to continue to prove people wrong. One of them will make it to the second round. But for now, that will do it for the first period. No goals to speak of, but what a start for McSavid to keep his team in it.
Yeah, I think the goaltender on your screen is the big reason why this is still a 0-0 game. McSavid making multiple huge saves, difficult saves. Nevertheless, lots of kind of high danger chances, traffic in front of him, puck bouncing around in different areas, and he's just been all over it each and every time so far. And interestingly enough, IQUE 7-0 in shots in that first period, so really dominating that first period was IQUE, and that's a trend that was going to be interesting to see coming into this game. We mentioned these two played twice in the regular season. IQUE outshot Färjestad 25-14 in the 2 games combined. So they were the aggressors when they played in the 2 games in the regular season. That trend has continued here in the playoffs. So we'll see if Färjestad can kind of keep holding defensively, if McSavid can keep making saves in the net, and if Färjestad can maybe push back a little bit and apply some pressure of their own.
Second period about ready to begin here. Again, still looking for our breakthrough goal. We'll see if we can find it anytime soon with these 2 teams, and really with any team in the elite division. You never know. It can look like it's just going to be this, knockdown, drag-out battle, and then all of a sudden, okay, there you go. There is your breakthrough, and you're looking good. The momentum completely changes. There's Jürgeli, again, not able to hold on to that one. Färjestad going to look to tighten up defensively, but also have to get that offense going, so it's an interesting situation to be in after 20 minutes, but hey, your goaltender didn't let one through. That chance in front, McSavid got a piece of it. That one's kept out, poked away to the far side. Niepi's there to recover. Goes back to the point for Nico. Again, Niepi in the corner. Ikavalko stuck on the back end, trying to get to the forehand. Dishes down to Niepi, and again broken up by Toflin. A little bit of trouble here. You're going in front, they score! We mentioned him in the pregame. Surprise, surprise. Ikavalko has the breakthrough. IQUE strike first.
And we mentioned it like you said, Tugi. He's been the goal scorer for this IQUE team all season long. He leads this team in goals by 7. 24 goals for him. Next closest number is 17 by Jürgeli, and he was 10th in goals throughout the entire league. Comes up big right there, and we kind of said it. Can IQUE keep this pressure going? Can Färjestad hold it off long enough to get something going for themselves? Well, IQUE finally able to break through right there, and now Färjestad really going to have to find a response to generate some offense.
Let's see what happens here when the pressure's on. FBK used to rising to the occasion. We'll see if they can do so here now. Fopa Toflin nowhere to go. So IQUE continue to shut down that blue line. Again, not much McSavid could do on that goal against. Great skating there by Fopa Toflin. Nipsely staying on side as well. Excuse me, that was Mullen, as Nipsely will be able to keep that one in. Puck down low for Afe. Back to the point. Incidental contact there. Space for Nipsely. Rebound, scores! Who else would it be for FBK? It's Afe in the very, very fortunate position to be able to sweep in that rebound. We are tied at 1.
Well, we rose questions and Färjestad gave us answers. And, you know, Tugi, sometimes I wonder if players listen to these broadcasts beforehand just to kind of hear what the consensus is. And how ironic, the 2 goal scorers we said were going to score goals do so. First it was Valko, now it's Afe. They both get the scoring start for the teams, and how big is that for Färjestad? Having little to no momentum offensively, they finally get something going, and one of the first high-danger chances they get, Afe comes in and scores. Big-time play to change the momentum towards their way.
There was that very weird moment. I didn't quite see how the IQUE player ended up on the ice, but it left Mr. Nipsely wide open to be able to step in, fire one on, and the rebound was there. Not much Teme could do. So here we are, tied at 1. Goal apiece here through the first 8 minutes of the period. Afe is going to be able to pick this one up. Sends it over to Mullen in the corner. Who takes the hit there from Pottsburg. Still fighting for it. Mullen trying to come away with that. Pottsburg says no. See what Jurgen can do now going down the other way. He'll stop up. IQUE will play it safe with the possession. Nico's pass, though, off the mark. You try to play it safe with possession, and all of a sudden the pass doesn't go through.
Yeah, and now we're actually a second away from being exactly halfway through this game, and IQUE, who had the momentum through the first 25 minutes or so, it's kind of flipped on their head now since that first goal. Färjestad really starting to apply some pressure. Feels like they have figured something out to kind of get some offensive zone time. We'll see if they can keep it going and maybe break through to take their first lead of the game.
Pass in front. Mullen tried to get back to the forehand and go short side. Just ran out of time. It was a good look. Pressure now on IQUE a little bit here. They're offside. Färjestad getting that tying goal. Now momentum in their favor a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what they needed. They didn't have anything going for them in that first period. Like we said, remember, IQUE outshot them 7-0 in the first period. Well, Färjestad took that first period, found some adjustments that have worked for them so far. So now we'll see if IQUE could adjust and get things back going in their direction.
Is FBK here in possession. Let's see what they can do. And the answer, unfortunately, not much, as a bouncing puck eludes their grasp. 6.5 minutes to play here in the second period of game number 1. Good bit of contact. Here's Niepi around the back of the net. Tried to go back. Don't know if he intended to go back to the point. Maybe tried to send it along the boards. Regardless, IQUE forced to reset. And they get that opening goal, but since then, not much to speak of. Jurgen, good burst of speed. That one on net. Trouble for McSavid. But he is able to stop that one. Face off here in the attacking zone for IQUE.
Yeah, now here's a chance for IQUE to maybe get that momentum back, to get an offensive zone face-off when you haven't really been in your offensive zone too much since about the 15-minute mark of the second period. We'll see if they can get something going.
As they tried that quick out, Fopa Toflin either fanning on it or the pressure was able to get to him. Big hit there against Mullen, but he's still fighting for it now. Nico a little bit of trouble. Fopa Toflin joining the play, and a penalty is called. Färjestad will go to the power play, as it will be the goal scorer, IQUE, going for a slash there, and yeah, there you see it.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. We talked about strengths versus strengths with these two teams. Well, the special teams, in terms of Färjestad being on the power play, pretty similar. The number 4 power play versus the number 3 penalty kill in the regular season. So we're going to see more of that kind of play out here, only this time on special teams.
Nico able to get that one to Niepi, trying to withstand the pressure. Very creative to do so. Still in possession. Finally knocked off the puck. Great individual effort from the captain, Niepi. And just like that, the power play, as they cross the line, almost halfway done already. D to D broken up. Nipsely can't maintain the zone. Pretty rough start, to put it nicely, or at least as nicely as I can for Färjestad on this power play, as they're offside with 47 seconds to go.
Yeah, and the strength of IQ's penalty kill winning the battle right now. That was a pretty solid first minute and 20 seconds of penalty kill time. You can't ask for much better than what they gave right there. We'll see if Färjestad going to figure something out and maybe capitalize here.
Chance for Quarterfinals, he scores! What a snipe and a power play goal for Färjestad out of nowhere.
Oh man, and how about the patience there on that shot? He kind of waited a little bit before he put that on net. As you'll see in the replay, he got the pass, waited for a second. The defenseman of IQUE kind of cleared out almost as if he was expecting him to skate in closer to the net. Färjestad stood right where he was, waited, basically created himself some space by doing nothing at all, and then put that shot top left where the kids couldn't get it. A great play there from Färjestad, and Färjestad all of a sudden with the lead where it felt like they had nothing going for the first 25 minutes of this game.
2 unanswered goals now, 1 minute on the clock here in the second period. We've said all season long, and it's continuing to be the trend so far here in the playoffs, twists and turns at every possible moment. You never know just what quite's going to happen next as Niepi not able to weave his way through traffic. Clock quickly winding down. Afe, who did score the tying goal, still fighting for this one. For Färjestad, just wide. May have clipped the post. That should and will do it for the second period. Man, that first period highlighted by IQUE. They weren't able to score until the second, but like you said, the back half, really, if not the last 15 minutes for FBK, they really started to find their groove, and now they have that 2-1 lead to show for it.
Yeah, and you almost wonder if that first period, the first 20 to 25 minutes, was almost just a feeling out period for Färjestad. It feels like they're a completely different team from the first period and even a little bit at the beginning of the second compared to the last part of that second period. They actually outshot IQUE in that second period 3-2. I know that the shots might look rather lopsided, but you have to remember IQUE, 7 of those 9 came in that first period. So not only is Färjestad doing a good job defensively holding IQUE and not giving them as many chances on McSavid, but they're starting to generate some opportunities of their own. As you see the first goal, a nice play putting the puck on net, a great job there from Afe driving the net, getting himself a chance on the rebound. And obviously the game-leading goal now for FBK, the beautiful snipe from Färjestad. So now the defense and goaltending come to the fore for Färjestad. Can they hold on and keep doing what they did late in that second period against IQUE? And can it be another one-goal game, Tugi? Let's wait and see.
It is the third period underway here. Again, game 1 of 2 that we'll have for you here in this broadcast. As Mullen, a bit of an opportunity there. Again, ECL Elite Division action brought to you by our friends at Kovan Lakritsi, Wilhelm, and ST Hockey. As this one is won by Ikavalko, passed it in front. Great job there by Sebi Larson to take that one away. Stretch pass for Färjestad does not go. Mr. Nipsley joining in on the rush. Covered by Mullen. Deflection off the post. Nearly found its way in. Afe that close to his second goal of the game. An incredible moment and opportunity there off of the deflection, but no dice.
Oh man, and that is a chance, and I know Färjestad was like, oh, that was so close. It would be huge for them to be able to take a 2-goal lead with the way they've been playing in the last 20 minutes or so. Pushing the issue pretty well, though. Even with that lead, IQUE gonna have to push back and find a response.
BK have to be careful with the puck in their own zone. Here's Afe. He's going to fight for this one. Färjestad sweeps to the help. Mullen's shot and a glove save by Teme. Back to the point, Mr. Nipsley. For Färjestad in front for Afe. Nearly found a way to get a piece of that one. IQUE needing to adapt here as Färjestad finding their offensive groove. Great job by Mullen to win this one. Here comes the captain on that right-hand side. Pass in front. Kick save by Teme. Afe didn't get all of that one. But Mullen wins it back. His shot knocked down by the traffic in front. Great work here from Färjestad. They've adapted well. Shot stopped by McSavid. No rebound off of the attempt from Jurgeli.
Yeah, IQUE maybe trying to get the game tied in the same way that Färjestad did. Remember, they had the rebound goal to tie this game that Afe capitalized on. IQUE went for it, but McSavid saying, no, 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 not in my crease. Kept that one at bay, and it's still a 1-goal lead for Färjestad because of it.
As we'll see what FBK are able to do, kind of slowing things down here again on the breakout, and at the very least, maintain possession, kill some time off the clock. They do dump this one in. Färjestad battling. Great pass by Ikavalko. He'll get it back after a poke check. And now Jurgeli, a bit of space, has the puck around the back of the net. In front, stopped by McSavid. Great pass from Jurgeli, lightning quick. McSavid, equally as fast to make that save.
How about McSavid in this game? Right now, he might be the leader for first star of the game if Färjestad can secure this victory. He's made saves at big points. And even though there haven't been sustained runs by IQUE in this game, it's kind of been here and there, he's been all over it each and every time.
Popotoflin trying to hold on to this one. Tries to get that pass up to Afe as well. Off the mark, icing is the call. Already halfway through this third period for game number 1. We'll see what IQUE can do here with this offensive zone draw. And it goes in favor of IQUE. Pottsberg down for Jurgeli. Holds it in the corner. Has to go around the back. Nipsley's there to contest it. Still fighting for it. Nowhere to go in the double team. Jurgeli tried to sneak that one back. No dice. And a pass from Nipsley off the mark, though. Here's Nieppe. Bit of space. Around the back of the net for Jurgeli. Has a couple options. Goes to the point for Pottsberg. And again, back to the winger. A pass in front. Picked off by Afe. 6.5 to go. Here is Malin driving the net. It was nearly own goal, but held out.
Ooh, and that was dangerous there for IQUE. Like you said, nearly own goal, and that was interesting. Ivalko was kind of skating into the net backwards, almost asking for it to be pushed in by an IQUE defender. Luckily for IQUE, didn't happen, and now a chance for him to get out of the zone as they try to break it out.
That stretch pass here for Jurgeli. Let's see what he can do. IQUE now under 6 minutes to work with. One-timer blocked. Malin taking that one away. Good pass now to Afe. Has Popotoflin with them. Back for Afe. They score! 3-1 IQUE with 5:06 to go. Afe's second of the game.
How about that play there between the two Färjestad wingers of Afe and Popotoflin? Both of them just kind of staying positioned with each other, and Afe just driving through that middle lane, getting the pass from Popotoflin in a great play, a pass in traffic. Nevertheless, that is not as easy as a play as they made it look right there. And now 5:06 to go. Färjestad looking in a very good position to probably take this game home and get into a game 1 because their defense and goaltending superb right now through the last 40 minutes.
We'll get another look at the goal here. The pass off the skate, kicks it to his tape, gets it back. And a little bit too much space there to work with for Afe. Maybe a lucky break here or there, but they make the best of it, and that's all you can ask for in that situation.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you might get that space, but you still have to capitalize on that. You'll see every now and then, you'll have that open net, and the player might miss it and just hits off of that end of the pad, so still got to take advantage. Afe did right there for his second goal of the game, and now Färjestad, like we said, in a great position with 4 minutes left, up by 2.
So those things about Afe, you could game plan for him, but in a lot of ways, he's inevitable. He's going to find a way to get on the score sheet. 3 minutes now for IQUE to try and stage a comeback. Here in game number 1, Popotoflin able to find Afe. Again now on 2 goals, looking for that hat trick. Sends it down low for Malin. All the way back to the point, Mr. Nipsley. A little bit of trouble, but he does find the way to get it to Malin. Great job by FBK. They're killing time. Just a minute and a half to play now here in regulation. IQUE started off the scoring in this game. 3 unanswered as mentioned. Big stop by McSavid. Jurgeli didn't get all of it in the worst case scenario as the puck goes all the way back down. 50 seconds now for IQUE. They need 2. That pass, nobody there. Trouble here for Afe. Malin involved. IQUE has it. Elects to pass with a man in front. Maybe ill-advised. Jurgeli wins it back. Forehand spin for the pass. Again, no shot from IQUE. 30 seconds to go, and it looks as though they might just be out of time. Back to the point. Chance. Jurgeli has it knocked away. Nieppe recovers. You need shots, boys. There you go. But McSavid is able to make it the stop once more.
You said they need shots, but it might be too little too late here for IQUE. Down by 2, just 17.3 to go. They're going to have to pull deep out of the bag of tricks here to make this one happen.
It gets a little bit more difficult, but the turnover there, IQUE might have hit the net, might have hit the side. 10 seconds left here. Jurgeli has it. IQUE are going to run out of time. 3 unanswered goals. FBK take game 1 by the score of 3-1.
And it may have not been their best first 20 minutes in the game, but FBK getting stronger as the game went on. Derrick Henry-esque for any NFL fans watching the broadcast today. And Färjestad defense turned into good offense, and good offense turned into goals in a well-earned 3-1 win over IQUE, who really looked like the aggressors and the stronger team, like we said, through the first half of this game, but just not able to sustain that as the game went on. And they are now down 1-0 and hoping to bounce back here in Game 2, replicating what they did there in the first period.
A huge win to start off this series for Färjestad, and if the opening round has been anything to go off of so far, IQUE have their work cut out for them to avoid trailing 2-0 heading into the action for the remainder of the week. But there you see the snipe from Fopa Toflin. Incredible job. 3-1 is the final scoreline. We'll get a look at some of the stats here down the stretch as well. A .930 save percentage for McSaven. I mean, IQUE, a lot of shots, but again, Färjestad able to capitalize on them.
Yeah, and not just a lot of shots, but a lot of time on attack as well. IQUE, they did what we kind of thought they would do coming into this game based off of what they've done all season and what they did in their 2 games against Färjestad in the regular season in late January. They had a lot of shots, they outshot Färjestad, and they had more time on attack, but like you said, Tugi, it comes down to taking advantage of the chances that you get. McSaven making huge saves time in and time out, really being the difference, at least in my opinion, in this game between a 3-1 and potentially a 3-3 game for Färjestad, while Färjestad on the other end took advantage of those chances. You saw a beautiful snipe from Fopa Toflin, as you get a look at it right there, just putting it top left corner, cannot place it any better than that right there. And then really the icing on the cake, this third goal right here to give and give back again there between the 2 Färjestad wingers. So a well-earned win for FBK. IQUE, you can take some positive things out of that with the stats. You outshot them, you had more possession time, but just not able to take advantage of the chances that they got.
Absolutely. So again, a big win there for Färjestad to take that first game of the night. Again, Game 2 coming up here in just a matter of moments. Our 4th and final game of this broadcast will set the stage for you on the aftermath of the flip side of this break, so stick with us.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Lähdetään haastamaan yhdellä yhtä vastaan. Loistava nälkäisen pelaajan ratkaisu, ohi mennään. Luukulla ollaan valmiina. Ja sitten katsotaan, kaikki kestää. Vanhanaikaisella kiekkolapaa, ilmaveivi, klassikko, maali! Wilhelm vei todella komeasti nakkikioskille. Wernerin nakki on loistava vahvistus Wilhelm joukkueelle.
All right, everybody, again, thank you very much for sticking with us here. Again, game number 1. Despite some occasionally frozen webcams, we apologize for any technical difficulties on this side of things. Again, it's one of those things we like to talk about, right? You got North Americans working with Europeans, and you just have to hope and pray that the strings hold that tie the likes of Discord and other programs and services together throughout a broadcast like this. And sometimes it just can't withstand the pressure that we put on those particular systems. But again, a nice 1-0 series lead now for Färjestad heading into this next game. It is worth noting as well, we have a developing situation where we believed, of course, that we were only going to have the 4 games covered today. It is worth noting that Goons are about to start their 3rd game against H-Reds. We will keep an eye on that series for you as well. But again, a 2-0 series lead there for the 1 seed in H-Reds, our defending champions, as I cannot get this webcam to freeze on a very flattering still frame, you know, but that is okay. So heading into this matchup then, I mean, again, we are a few moments away from puck drop. Very, very intrigued to see just how this plays out for IQUE, because like we said, every other series has the 2-0 series lead right now. They need to find a way to kind of break that streak.
Yeah, and Färjestad looking to join H-Reds for Lunda, and granted, in those 2-0 series leaders, but IQUE, like we said, they're a team that gets a lot of shots, they get a lot of time on attack. that is dangerous to play against if you are Färjestad, if IQ can just capitalize on 1 or 2 chances here and there. And gotta give a lot of credit to McSavick, because in my opinion at least, he was a big reason they did not get 2 to 3 goals in that game. So if McSavick can keep playing the way he's playing, and if Färjestad can replicate what they did in the last 30 minutes of that game one, you gotta like their chances. But IQ, they're gonna play with a lot of urgency in this game. They know that 2-0 stat that you mentioned, Tugi. They do not want to join that crowd.
So again, it is game number 2 in this opening round, best of 7 matchup. Färjestad, the 4th seed, IQ, the 5th seed. We are good to go. It is Färjestad in their road whites, IQ in their lovely, how would you describe that green? It's almost a teal. We're going with turquoise, apparently. Oh my goodness, McSavick on the spread eagle pokes that one away. We have a penalty coming up already. 1 minute in, IQ going to the power play.
Well, we saw just about everything but a goal there in the first minute. A railroading hit there from Afe, and then McSavick with one of the most powerful spread eagle saves I think you will ever see in NHL 22. But now IQ going to try to take advantage on what has been a bit of a struggle on the power play so far. Would be huge for them to maybe take advantage and get that 1-0 lead early on in this game too.
Jurgeli's pass a little bit off the mark. IQ able to keep it in the attacking zone. Jurgeli around the back of the net, trying to corral that puck. Fending off pressure from Mullen. This one over to the half wall. And IQ working the outside, not really able to find any space in the middle right now. D-to-D pass, and again back, big stop by McSavick, and again crucially no rebound given up.
Yeah, and I think that's what Färjestad has really improved on. That's been the difference, because remember the first period of that game one, IQ had 7 shots. That was half the shots they had really in the entire game, but Färjestad doing a much better job closing out the space that IQ has had to work with in the offensive zone.
As it's a battle forward in the corner here one more time. Dish back to the point. Nico, see what he can do. Over to Podsberg. Just 20 seconds remaining on the man advantage here. Very early on in the first period. That pass intercepted. Mullen clears, and that will do it. A missed opportunity for IQ to start off this second game. There's Nico or Ikavalko, the lone goal scorer for IQ so far in this series. Shot from Jurgeli. Glove stop. And, you know, it's still early in game 2, but McSavick is one of those goaltenders. If he is really on top of his game and confident, he almost becomes more difficult to beat as the games go on. Face off one here. Nipsley for Färjestad, now over for Sebi Larsson. 9 goals in the regular season, had him tied for 3rd. He was 5th in points. We keep an eye out on Teal for Färjestad, as it is Mullen able to bring this one into the attacking zone. He's still there. The handoff and a stop by Teme on the near side post. Good look there for Popotoflin. So it will be another offside here against IQ.
Yeah, and really just pretty back and forth for the most part. You saw IQ have a decent amount of zone time there on that power play, but aside from that, IQ just kind of trying to get something to break through after that opening goal in game 1. They haven't been able to find anything since. Great defense from Färjestad and great saves from McSavick. He make another one there, Tuti.
A deflection that stopped all of the puck's forward momentum, essentially. Just able to snag that one out of the air, no problem. It does lead to another attacking zone draw. This is very similar to game 1 so far. IQ, all of that forward momentum, another blocker stop. Of course, IQ not exactly looking for a replay of that first game, as Popotoflin takes his time, is able to hit Afe on the outlet pass before getting it back. Try to send it back one more time. Did too much traffic there. Mullen sends it around. Afe race for the puck. Ends up going to Sebi Larsson. Shot on. Stopped by Teme. Great look there for Färjestad. And another tough save for Teme to make, as Ikavalko nearly got that one through. There's Mullen one more time. Again, the captain of this Färjestad team tried to send it down, with Afe looking to break out. Jurgeli nearly working his way into the center of the ice. Already now halfway through this first period. Here is Sebi Larsson between the legs. Still going to pinch in and fight for this one. Nico handled it well for IQ. Sebi Larsson got caught on the net a little bit, so the numbers advantage perhaps for IQ. Not able to take advantage of it, though. So it's Färjestad now down the other way. Popotoflin tried to get that rebound shot on. He missed wide. Another shot from the point by Sebi Larsson. That one handled by Demet. Popatopoulos on the half wall, tried to find Mullen. Again, a bit too much traffic. Niepi for IQUE, captain of that squad. Good outlet pass there, but again, Ikavalko nowhere to go. See here, Afe, golden helmet. Ikavalko wearing one for IQUE. Team's leading scorer now in the playoffs at this stage. So keep an eye out, of course, for the golden bucket-wearing player. They are your player to watch. This is Sebi Larson now. Looking to lead things down the other way. Great pass to find Mullen in open space. Nipsley goes down low, a little bit of trouble. Afe will win the race for it, though. Again, one of the smaller player builds you'll see in the Elite Division. Sebi Larson in a little bit of trouble. It is Jurgeli able to take it away. Great poke check, though, by Popatopoulos. Now he has it into the attacking zone for Färjestad. In front, Afe had a nice swing at it. Couldn't get a big piece of it. Teme is able to cover.
Yeah, now a chance here for Färjestad to get in the offensive zone and establish something. It feels like since we mentioned that it was kind of IQUE pressing the issue in the first period, Färjestad kind of pushing back a little bit. So a chance here in the offensive zone for them to maybe get that and maybe capitalize with a goal.
Again, now 2 minutes to go here in this opening period of game number 2. In the final game of this broadcast, as we will see what Jurgeli can do here now. IQUE in the attacking zone. Both goaltenders having to make some big saves. McSavid, of course, been almost perfect so far. Just the 1 goal surrendered now in nearly 4 periods of play. So we hit the final 10 seconds. Good poke check, though, by Jurgeli to maybe open up a bit of opportunity. It at least stops FBK from getting anything else going. So a goalless affair through the opening 20 minutes of this game. We'll get a look, though, at one of the stops made by McSavid.
And one of the many there is that when a shot from the point, you saw IQUE go for that a lot with how little space that Färjestad gave them there from the front of the net forward. As, like you said, Tugi, 0-0 here in the first. And in that one, IQUE, a lot of their chances kind of felt like it came from that power play the first 10 minutes. It felt like they were the aggressors, and then Färjestad starting to give a little bit of that pushback as the period went on. And similar to game 1, the more the game went on, the better Färjestad got. So holding IQUE to not scoring could maybe be big here if Färjestad can get that first goal. We'll see if that kind of continues in terms of that trend. But pretty encouraging for both teams. IQUE playing well, Färjestad playing well. Should be fun to see who could break the scoring open and get that first goal.
1 goal in 4 periods for IQUE at this stage of this series. Not exactly a winning formula. They need to find a way to add that little bit of insurance, and we'll see if they are able to do so, as keeping an eye out again on the potential start for one Goons and H-Reds. We shall see what happens there as we keep an eye out on, again, the battle of 1 versus 8 in that series as well. It's an offensive zone draw here for IQUE. Clean win, though, from Mullen and FBK. We'll look to get things going here. So a good bit of patience there by Sebi Larson, not wanting to risk it. Any turnover can be the mistake. That leads your opposition to getting that opening goal. And there's Mullen, a little bit of trouble. Niepi has it now for IQUE. Shot off the post, and McSavid handles the rebound that was nearly swept in by Ikavalko.
Oh, man, and Ikavalko, he wants that one back. I was going to say that I think the thing that IQUE has to figure out is how can they beat this hot goaltender in McSavid? Well, they had a clear-cut chance right there, but it hit off the bottom right post. IQUE going to want that one back if they don't end up winning this game.
At the point now, down back low again to the centerman, still fighting for it. Ikavalko putting up a good fight. Sebi Larson, though, able to use those elite edges to skate his way out of trouble. Slow pass to Mullen, now over for Popatopoulos, pushing off onside with him. Jurgeli having a little bit of trouble, but again, IQUE able to take that one away. Still looking for our opening goal of this second game. Again, it was a 3-1 victory for Färjestad in game number 1 of this best of 7. And here's Afe with a bit of space on that left-hand side. Pass back to Sebi Larson, who wanted the between-the-legs move. Again, at this point, I just can't help but think a little bit more willingness to throw the puck on net. What might happen? You know, you get goaltenders that don't face that many shots, and One shot. All you need is a slight overcorrect at the wrong time, and that goaltender's getting beat as McSavid, I think, got that one with the blocker.
Oh man, McSavid hasn't had any problems with that. He's been tested plenty and often in these 2 games. He has answered the bell every single time so far.
Cavalco in front. Nieppe does not go. Great chance again for IQUE. How many times have we said that, but still not able to find the back of the net. Fopa Toflin loses it. Here's Yergely now one more time for IQUE around the back of the net. Wrap around, short side bit as well. And again, McSavid is there.
You know, I think something that was interesting that you mentioned, Tugi, was kind of that shots on net difference that we're seeing. Remember, we said it before the series started. These two played twice. IQUE outshot Färjestad 25-14 in the 2 games combined. So this is a trend that we've seen throughout these 2. It's a close one there again from IQUE.
As you see Nico diving at the point, you gotta wonder, like, I know when I do that, if I dive after a goalie makes a save, that's a frustration thing. I'm not saying it is for them, but again now, we are 4.5 periods into this series, still just the 1 goal to show for it for IQUE. I would imagine there's some frustration to be met with this goaltending performance that we've seen from McSavid so far. Yeah, a loose puck here corralled by Yergely. He's been a generator of a lot of offense in this series so far. Walko able to get this one back. Again, trying to get that defense moving of FBK. To open up a little bit of space. What a poke check by Fopa Toflin into the attacking zone. Has options. Goes to the point. Nipsely right back down to him. And now it's Mullen. Cuts in front. Loose puck. Kick save. Off the backhand attempt from Afe. Great stop by Teme. We are still without an opening goal. Now 4.5 minutes remaining in the second period. Here's Afe. Mullen denied. Off the shoulder save from Teme. Great goaltending on both sides of the ice. Fopa Toflin trying to get something going back here. A little bit too much traffic to weave through. Nico Walko takes it away. Now in the corner. Yergely back in front. Loose puck fight. Mullen is there. Now it's Sebi Larsson who's finally able to settle things down. Färjestad will look to get something going. See what they can do. Sebi Larsson finds that space on the left-hand side. It looked like he might have been tripped there. I guess it was contact. Now it's Ikavalko. Has Nieppe with him. Can't get the pass over. Final minute of play. Here in the second period, Sebi Larsson trying to chase this one down. And he does. Sebi Larsson pulled the trigger, but it was blocked. Here's Mullen. 10 seconds. Shot on rebound was there again, but Pottsburg was the first one to it. 3 seconds, and we will go to the third period somehow, some way, without a goal on the board. Incredible.
Oh, and you know, I know we can be so enamored nowadays with these high-scoring games with pretty plays and flashy goals, but sometimes there is nothing like an old-fashioned goaltending battle, and man, have we gotten that here in Game 2 between McSavid and Teme. And the defense has showed up pretty well too. It takes a good defense to make a goalie an even better goalie, and we've seen that from both of these teams. We've seen nothing but the unexpected that has shown up again here in Game 2. Färjestad looking to go up 2-0 in the series after winning Game 1. IQUE looking to be the first team to not go down 2-0 in a series. And man, oh man, it looks like you're going to have to beat the goalie with your best if you want to win this game, if you are either of these two teams. Both McSavid and Teme absolutely on fire here in this game.
Time to get traffic in front. Time to see if those deflection goals can go. Get the screens. You got to throw everything at the wall here if you're going to beat one of these two, as we have an offside call here. Again, a reminder, the action here in the Elite Division playoffs continues tomorrow, as we will see the continuation of, at the very least, Frölunda and Havu as well. Of course, the likes of Asawa and Granite will be in action. These two teams, I believe, as well, will be in action. Not sure if it'll be on broadcast. There is a chance that H-Reds and Goons, who are currently in progress, is a shot on from the red line, forced to save from Teme. There is a chance that the battle of 1v8 could be over by tomorrow. An IQUE power play, though, coming up here, as it will be Mullen going to the box for tripping.
And remember, we talked about penalties being a big thing for Färjestad in this series. Well, they've done a relatively good job of staying out of the box for the most part, at least compared to the 2 times these teams played in the regular season. Remember, they took 7 penalties in the 2 games. Färjestad did a better job staying out of the box in Game 1. They take their first penalty in Game 2, and now IQUE really going to have to take advantage and get something going.
Had a good chance there, but it went off of the leg of the defender in front. Jurgeli now over for Pottsburg. Shot from the point, blocked by the traffic. IQUE still in possession. Good poke check by Foppa-Toflin. Still though it's IQUE. Here's Nico. Looking, finds Niepi. Shot blocked again by Sebi Larsson. Loose puck. Foppa-Toflin has it for Afe. 50 seconds to go on the kill, but they're going to try something short-handed. Afe just going to handle that in the corner. Gets absolutely demolished for his trouble, but did do a good job of killing off the time as Niepi is offside. He gets dropped for his trouble as well.
Yeah, and I have to correct myself. This is the second penalty actually Färjestad took in this game. IQUE at that first power play didn't get a lot of chances, and unfortunately for them, not much different here on the second power play. We said they were a struggling power play in the regular season, around 19%. Unfortunately, not much better so far for these 2 games.
Loose puck on the side of goal. We are back to 5-on-5. Kicks out to the corner. Ikavalko's there. Finds Niepi. Back to the forehand, and another great poke check by Foppa-Toflin. And we talk about great two-way players in this division. Foppa-Toflin has had time as a utility player. Trouble there from McSaven. He's able to make the stop. Foppa-Toflin has been phenomenal and crucial to the defensive effort here of Färjestad.
Yeah, no, the two-way play can be a little underrated. And the thing with Foppa-Toflin, a lot of times those players may not light up the score sheet as IQUE with a shot that rises over the boards there from the looks of it. But like you were saying, just that two-way play is so important to any team. Every top team needs that dynamic, especially with how many ways that different teams can play and beat you. So Foppa-Toflin gives that two-way element to contribute both offensively and defensively for this Färjestad team.
That pass off the market is FBK back in control. Again, a 3-1 win for Färjestad in Game 1, yet we still wait for the opening goal. 5 periods of play for IQUE, just 1 goal to show for it. Not quite what they were hoping to see to start off this series now. Foppa-Toflin in the attacking zone, immediately pressured. Sebi Larsson there to help. Foppa-Toflin has it. Sauces one on net. Trouble on the short side. Foppa-Toflin again wanted to get back to that short side, just no space. Afe takes the hit. Trouble here still, but they'll be able to manage it. IQUE trying to get going down the other way. Niepi for Jurgeli, immediately bumped off the puck as he crosses the blue line. Comes Sebi Larsson, finds Malin, bit of space, has it around the back. See what he can do. Wanted that short side 1T for Afe. Again, now Malin, that one off the mark, and we'll go all the way back to the neutral zone. There's Mr. Nipsley in possession. He'll drop it back. IQUE, 5 men back. The dump and chase here from FBK. Not exactly timed as they would have preferred. Pottsburg having trouble with Foppa-Toflin. Again, what a performance. Ikavalko, the big spin at the line. They could not time it. 6:33 to go, and still a goalless game.
Now we enter next goal wins territory. 6:33 to go. Not a lot separating these two teams, and the scoreboard definitely indicative of that. No score for either of these two sides. So now, whoever scores this next goal, time is your friend. For the one that allows it, time is their enemy. So next goal, absolutely of the highest of importance for both of these sides.
Foppa-Toflin's shot doesn't get through. Maybe opens up a bit of space. Sebi Larsson says no. It's sent around. Mr. Nipsley is able to recover. Jurgeli, good job putting the pressure on, but again, still Färjestad in possession. Good movement here on this breakout. Trying to find a lane again. 5 men back for IQUE. Malin able to gain the zone. Loses it for the moment. Foppa-Toflin couldn't hold it. Now just 3:06 remaining.
Yeah, and man, oh man, we kind of said it going into this third period. It's going to be a goaltending battle. Well, that's held true. Who's going to be the first to beat McSaven or Teme? This next goal, it's definitely going to win the game now, I think. It's safe to say with the way these two teams have played, the way these two goalies have played, next goal might win it. So important as a close one.
That was a backhand on net from halfway up the half wall. Does not go, but still it's Färjestad in possession. Sebi Larsson spins back, Has Fopa Toflin looking. Pass right into the legs of a defender. Zikavalko was down. Off and a chance. Glove stop by Teme. Great reaction from the IQ netminder.
Oh, and another big save there from Teme. We've talked a lot about McSaven, but Teme has made a lot of big saves, difficult saves. Nevertheless, in both of these two games, gonna have to hold strong. These goalies at this point gonna have to be perfect.
Nipsely is down injured. Man down for Färjestad, and here come IQ. 3-on-2. Niepi in front, broken up by the back check. A huge opportunity gone for IQ. Now 40 seconds to go. We'll keep an eye on Nipsely, the puck carrier there for the moment, who is dealing with an injury. Mullen trying to hold this one. Sebi Larson nowhere to go. Ikavalko has that one poked away. It's offside with 27 seconds to go. Will it be overtime? That is the question. Here again, we have seen numerous overtimes. Half of our reported games have gone to OT. At least before we played game 1, and now after game 2, we could get back to 50%.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we haven't had any overtimes today specifically, but with the way these two teams have gone, we could be here all day, Tukey. The goalies not letting anything up so far in this game.
Ikavalko, bit of space, stopped by McSaven. Read him the entire way. That is a confident goaltender.
Oh man, McSaven read it like a book that he had an essay due for in the morning, just with him the entire time. Ivalko, that was 2 chances Ivalko has had in this game. One hit off the bottom right post in the second period, and the save from McSaven on the breakaway. Absolutely huge there for Färjestad.
Final 12 seconds. Here is Afe in possession. Fopa Toflin around the back. No pinch from Nipsely. Here's Niepi. 4 seconds for the IQ captain. Has it. Does not go. But we will go to overtime. No goals through 3 periods of play. And we know now, sudden death, the next goal will be the winner.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the theme that we said really throughout the third period. Now we know for certain that's going to hold true. And we know that one of these 2 goalies is going to get what we can confidently say without jinxing anyone, a shutout. One of these 2 goalies will get that. And interestingly enough, these 2 teams split the season series 1-1. Both of their wins, a shutout. 5-0 win for IQ, 2-0 win for Färjestad. So interesting to see how this is going to go because, man, it's hard to see either Teme or McSaven getting beat with the way that they played, but one of them are going to have to, whether it be forced or not.
Overtime here underway. Worth noting that H-Reds and Goons, Game 3, currently in triple overtime after the first 2 games went to overtime as well. So, again, overtime has been a theme all season long. That continues in the playoffs. Ikavalko can't get that shot off. Again, it is the 4th seed in Färjestad taking on the 5 seed in IQ. A 3-1 victory in Game 1 for FBK, but still finding it very difficult to score goals here. They have, again, 3 and 6 periods. IQ just with the 1. They desperately need this win to get some momentum on their side heading into games 3 and 4 tomorrow. Niepi, the pass for Jurgel. He throws one on. McSaven is there. We have said so many times, big stretch pass just out of the reach of Afe. Icing is the call, and another good opportunity here for IQ.
Yeah, and IQ, they've had a few, and man, you said it, 1 goal in 6 periods of play, and it has not been really to their own doing. Sure, they've missed a few opportunities, but McSaven all over it so far in both of these 2 games. They're going to have to get 1 goal here if they want to tie this one at 1-1. Man, oh man, would it be big for them to beat McSaven here and to win the game on it nevertheless.
As an interesting moment there. Didn't quite see what happened, if there was a player not moving or what we have, but we do have a timeout at this stage, and we will wait to see what happens here for okay, so apparently there is a bit of a lagging issue. We shall see if there is a potential restart to avoid that, or if they just go for it. Just call it fair play and move on. We shall see what the word is there. Obviously, though, for these 2 teams, you have anybody lagging on your side of things, and very important situation. Again, here, money on the line. Whoever wins this series, guaranteed to walk away with something. So, a lot of pressure. You don't want to put anybody at a disadvantage. And indeed, we have the word they are going to be restarting. So, again, a high pressure situation. Not really all that surprising to see that they're going for the restart here.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly, Tugi. When you have so much on the line, like you said, there is money on the line for both of these teams, and IQ down 1-0. Färjestad had a chance to go up 2-0. IQ trying to tie it. An overtime game where both goalies have played so well. This game could be the difference between these teams winning the series and moving on to that semifinal, winning a little bit of that cash prize, or seeing their season end completely. So, with so much on the line, this being in overtime, obviously you do not want to have to deal with a player being at such a disadvantage in terms of connection. Want to have fair play, especially in such a big game. So, much love to both teams kind of abiding to that. And we're getting a fair overtime here. 0-0. The score will be the same as you see it on the bottom of your screen. The periods, overtime, first period. So, should be fun. Going to be a lot of fun to see because both of these goalies don't seem keen on being beat, but one of them are going to have to if we end this game.
So again, we'll wait to see what happens here as well, based off of the timing, of course, the fact that it was in overtime. I pray to the teams don't elect to wait it out for the real time 2 minutes. Spare us all from that. But it should be, and indeed, I believe that is the word, the first period onward. Of course, they were a little bit into the first period, but again, overtime coming up. We are keeping an eye out as well on the Goons and H-Reds matchup again, still, as boy, the webcams are. Shout out to our good friends here at at Discord. I am aware of some of the service issues that they have had here today. What's funny is I had seen people on Twitter mention like, "Hey, Discord's acting up today." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I haven't seen anything." They'll get us. They always find a way to get us every single time. It's outrageous, but it is what it is. With that, though, again, we're keeping an eye out on that game. Goons up 2-0 in the or excuse me, H-Reds up 2-0 in that series. Goons again in desperate need of a win here, but again, all three of their games have gone to overtime, and it's been the theme. Again, we've seen so many overtimes. You might have an opportunity to look at latest results here to perhaps give these webcams a bit of a break. As again, we shall see what happens here now down the stretch. As boy, oh boy, the webcam side of things. I don't know what happened to us. Look at us. We are just, we belong hanging on the wall at the Louvre. That is some fine art right there. That is abstract.
Oh, man. I mean, apparently we're not the only ones having the connection issues here. We can join IQUE and Färjestad there in that group. But hey, nevertheless, great game, a big game for both of these two teams. And it's interesting with Goons and H-Reds, like you said, Tugi. Each game going to overtime, and H-Reds being the dominant team, the defending champions. There we go. We're nice and clear. Pure clarity now for us. After a live art performance there for a couple minutes between our two webcams. But it's interesting. Goons, the 8 seed, H-Reds, the 1, being that favorite, being the defending champion, and Goons has put them to the brink. They could easily have the series tied at 1-1 or even be up 2-0. So just kind of shows you to expect the unexpected in the playoffs here in the ECL Elite. That theme sticking true as we have a 0-0 game going into overtime with these two in game 2.
If I'm not mistaken now, that Goons matchup as well, heading to a 4th overtime now, if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely ridiculous. It might honestly be their 5th. It's outrageous. It is outrageous. Okay, confirmed that it is the 4th. We would throw it to you there, but unfortunately, again, there's some legalities that would be involved. So we are, I do believe, going to have to hold off as we continue to await this restart, and gonna wait for word from our producer here as well as to how close they are. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to head to a brief intermission here. We are going to wait for them to be close towards the restart period, and then we will rejoin you for the end of Game 2 between Färjestad and IQUE. Stick with us.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Lähdetään haastamaan haastamaan yhdellä yhtä vastaan. Loistava nälkäisen pelaajan ratkaisu, ohi mennään. Luukulla ollaan valmiina. Ja sitten katsotaan, kantti kestää. Vanhanaikaisella, kiekko lapaan, ilmaveivi, klassikko, maali! Wilhelm vei todella komeasti nakkikioskille. Wernerin nakki on loistava vahvistus Wilhelm joukkueelle.
All right, everybody. Well, how about that? We sit here and think we might need a brief intermission. No, the teams are matched up. They are ready to go. Overtime is going to continue on here again. A 0-0 scoreline, so it works out quite perfectly as this one continues. As again, I don't believe the webcams have frozen to make my face look any more flattering whatsoever. I mean, I should really just try to like strike a pose here as we wait to see where it freezes next. Oh, yep, there it is. See? There you go. Case in point.
Of course it does it right after the pose, too. Just a few seconds.
We tried.
There.
We tried. What if I give it the Home Alone? Like the screaming face? I don't know. Will it freeze here? Give it the Nate Diaz. No, it won't freeze on that either? Okay,
We've
cool.
got the code, Tugi. You need to pose every single time. Otherwise, we won't have any freezes throughout, but we won't have to worry about webcams. We will have action aplenty in front of us overtime between these two teams in game number 2.
Broadcaster flexes through record 6 overtimes. You can see the headline now. Overtime is underway. Next goal wins. Let's see how the restart affects these two teams as McSaven forced to make a very tough stop there with Nieppe on the doorstep.
Yeah, you know, that's a really interesting point that you brought up. How does the restart affect these two teams? Maybe a chance for both teams to say, okay, what can we do? What if we know is to beat these goalies of McSaven and Teme? Maybe a little bit of chatter and a little bit of talk to maybe strategize something to break this open, because like we said, the next goal does win this game. It is overtime.
Ape not able to find his way through there. Space down that left-hand side. Dish back to the point. Pottsburg, one-timer kick stop by McSaven. Doesn't look like he's having to shrug off any rust from that brief break. Here's Nieppe. Still fighting for it. The captain for IQUE. Back to the point by himself. Throws one on, but it goes wide. Off of that slap shot attempt. Just almost like a turnaround fadeaway three-pointer there. Just put up a prayer. See what happens. As Jurgeli takes this one away for IQUE. It's been a hot start for them. Upon this restart again here in overtime. Here is Nieppe in front. And it just got knocked. It's incredible for Ikavalko. It was weird to see what was happening with the stick. There's one pass in front again. Nearly goes. Great pressure here from IQUE. Finally, Färjestad able to just kind of bull rush their way out of the neutral, or back to the neutral zone and out of their own zone to alleviate some of that pressure. Nico offside here for IQUE.
Yeah, and IQUE kind of the aggressors and having a lot of that pressure so far to start this overtime out. Not really any chances so far for Färjestad. IQUE really making Färjestad work defensively, and McSaven sharp per usual so far. They've needed him to be in this OT.
FBK can get going here. The answer, not much, at least on that attempt. Nipsley had it knocked loose, and Färjestad will be forced to restart. Here is Fopa Toflin, hounded by Jurgeli. Those two have been standouts, especially in this particular matchup. Jurgeli forces the steal. Back to the point for Pottsburg. Now Jurgeli once more along the half wall. Has Nieppe with him. Sebbe Larsson trying to walk away with it. Pass to Fopa Toflin. Good movement here, and Färjestad are out of danger. However, we have word. Goons are not. H-Reds have taken a 3-0 series lead. The number 1 seed again taken to overtime 3 straight times by the 8th seed, but they have won all 3 games as McSaven gets a pad to that one. So Goons in big danger of potentially being eliminated. Again, a bit of a disappointing season for them to only make it as the 8th seed. They knew they'd have a tough matchup. That's proving to be the case. Speaking of tough matchups, these offenses against these goaltenders. Another save by Teme.
Yeah, and both of these goalies really just a story of the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. McSaven, Teme, neither of these two goalies willing to break, and man, what can these two teams do to find the answer? There's just been nothing available for these two. Someone's got to break this thing open.
Jurgeli sends that one all the way through the crease. Here's Nico. Back for Nieppe again. Circles high. Slap shot from the point. Blocker save. Maybe even kicked by McSaven. Off of a weird opportunity. Another shot. That one may have been gloved out. That outlet pass, good pick off there by Nico. As Toplin tried to hit Afe. Puck down low in the corner. Jurgeli has it. For Niepi, back to Jurgeli. Fired one wide on the short side. Held in by Nico. Back for Niepi. IQUE throwing everything at the wall. Here's space for Afe. 2-on-1. And the pass is off the mark. Loose puck. Afe's there. Teme keeps it out. Great chance for Färjestad. Here they are at the point. Nipsley's shot deflected. May have clipped the post. Certainly looked like it. Unbelievable that we have not found a goal here in this game yet.
By the way, what a job from both Nico and Valko to get back there and play defense for their goalie and Teme. Absolutely huge. Maybe the reason this game is still going.
Here we go now. Mr. Nipsley joining the rush. That one banked off the legs of a defender. Holland having trouble holding on to it. Finally gets it. See what he can do. The rapid kicked out by Teme. Final minute of overtime. Of course, it will be a fast minute instead of the real-time 2 minutes because of the restart, technically the first period. But again, for us, it is overtime. Off-face pass off the mark. Will it be double overtime? And it will be as Nipsley kills the clock. This game continues.
Yeah, and it might be a different game in theory, but it's the same game and the same style of game that we saw through the first 3 periods. The goalies making saves and the defense showing up big as well. Obviously, McSaven and Teme being the big story of this game with the saves that they have made, rather. But how about the defense of both Färjestad and IQUE? Both of them have really done a good job shutting down a few of those clear-cut opportunities that their respective opponents have had. We saw it earlier on that 2-on-1 opportunity that Färjestad had. Nico doing a great job getting back, and Valko doing the same thing to kind of help him out, stopping a chance that Färjestad might have had on a 2-on-1 play that they actually succeeded on earlier that got them a goal in game 1. Färjestad, same thing, stopping a few chances in front of the net on cross-crease opportunities from IQUE. So as much as the goalies have been key, the defense has been key. So does that one little breakdown maybe make the difference? You start getting in these overtimes, mental fatigue maybe wears in a little bit, and maybe that's where that break helps. But something gonna have to break open at some point. But Tugi, we might be here all day at the rate we're going. This is fun.
Oh, goodness. I mean, again, we've had Marathon Mondays. When will it end? Wednesdays. Therapy Thursdays. I mean, I don't know. What did we have for Tuesday? Troubled Tuesdays? I can't quite recall. There's always been so much. But regardless, we continue on. We call it Time Trial Tuesday, but that would indicate that we want that it would end somewhat fast. I mean, unless you compare it to Le Mans, in which case, 24-hour race. On time trial-wise, we're looking okay. As IQUE have the puck here, at least for the moment. Mullen giving them trouble in the neutral zone. And double overtime. Bit of space here now for Mullen. The cutback. He's pushed to the ice. Back to his feet, though. Great balance on display. Trouble here. Here's Jurgeli. Ikavalko with him. Has it. Back into the slot. Loose puck bouncing around. Toplin tries the quick out. That's on goal. Forcing a save from Teme. A little bit difficult there with the camera switches to have seen the save attempts. Dangerous moment for any goaltender. You have a slap shot like that on target. A puck bouncing around. Färjestad still in possession. Mullen trying to hold on to it. Niepi has it now for IQUE. He's over the blue line. A bit of back skating to hold on to it. Pottsberg, one-timer kicked away again by McSaven. It is Nico now. That passed into the middle. Mullen again there to disrupt. We're almost halfway through this second overtime period. Nipsley's pass again a little bit off the mark. Great recovery though. Put that pressure right back on. Nipsley's pass again. He's having a little bit of trouble with his accuracy as he tries to get the puck out of the zone. What a feed! Space for Mullen. Scores! The captain wins it in double overtime. Färjestad take a 2-0 series lead.
Wow, they said it. Expect the unexpected. We said it coming into today. And how about this Mullen? He had 3 assists, no goals in game 1. In game 2, it took 1 goal to win it, and he was the one to score it for Färjestad. A great move there with the space on what was kind of that odd man rush, a semi-breakaway there for him. Kind of baited the goalie of Teme on that forehand and stuck to the backhand. Got him to move just enough. to put it past them, and we said someone had to break it open. Malin's the one to do it, and Färjestad is up 2-0 now in the series. What a game, Tugi. Wow.
So with that, everybody, you get a look at the updated bracket. Again, H-Reds and Goons. Game 4 is coming up. We will be sending you guys over to that particular channel as we get one more look. Teme, he's going to be mad at himself at that one. He really is for sneaking off of the post and leaving open that space. It's so difficult as a goaltender to not, to be able to avoid that temptation of just sneaking over. Again, you guys saw the bracket, 3-0. Every single series, we have seen a 2-0 series lead. The Elite Division playoffs will continue tomorrow and Thursday, again, right here at SportsGamer GG. Of course, SportsGamer.gg for all the information that you need, as we'll see if the webcams are able to hold up here down the stretch. Here's hoping. But a phenomenal day of action, to say the absolute least. Some incredibly close and entertaining games. And again, the action will continue tomorrow. But what a cast we got to call today. The ups and downs and all the unpredictability aside.
Yeah, it's like a good roller coaster. You never know what to expect. There's a lot of high drops and high lows and twists and turns, and you just never know what you're going to get. We said that coming in. The playoffs have had that theme all week long, and we just kind of saw that continue on today. We might have a lot of 2-0 and a 3-0 series, but I expect a lot more of this. It's been a lot of fun to call, a lot of fun to watch. And we get more of this tomorrow and maybe even Thursday. So can't wait to see some of these series unfold with you and Sin on the call. And man, oh man, just an absolute blast to call these games today.
Absolutely. No, today was great. And again, thank you very much for being here today. It was kind of a late call to fill in. No regrets, to say the absolute least. So again, make sure, of course, again, sportsgamer.gg or sportsgamergg on all social media. Keep up to date with us as far as what the matchups will be heading into Wednesday and Thursday, if necessary. As it stands, we might not have action on Thursday if, of course, again, there are multiple sweeps, which has happened before. You can follow Mr. B Major on Twitter, as you would see, at B Major. And there we go. That's what's on deck for tomorrow. I will be here again alongside Mr. Sim for the win. Granite Gaming and Sawo, again, 2-0 for Granite as the 7th seed. And, of course, we saw Frölunda take a 2-0 series lead over Havu in the battle of 3 versus 6. And we'll see again if Frölunda can get the job done. So again, Sin and I will be back on the call tomorrow, 19:45 CET, 1:45 p.m. Eastern. For those of you on North America, the North American side of things, and of course, as mentioned, you can follow B Major on Twitter. On Twitter, there you go, B Major and Twitter. It's fine. The New Englander had to come out there. It did. There's just there's no R's. There's no R's in New England. I'm gonna go get in my car and go to the grocery store now. Thank you very much for hanging out, everybody. You can follow me everywhere at Tugi24. We will see you next time. Let's all go enjoy Game 4. Will H-Reds pull off the sweep? We're about to find out. We'll see you here tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.